If you're trying to break through a plateau, as much as we feel that we need to do something drastic because we want results now, we only need very small adjustments in order for our body to have to respond to something new. One common mistake that people make, been doing the same workout over and over again. Some of you have been doing the same workout for 6 months, for 9 months. Some of you have been doing the same workout for a year. If you're eating 1,100 calories per day and you're living your day-to-day life and you're just not sitting on the couch all day and you're active and you're at 1,100 and you're stuck, you going lower is not going to serve you. Your goal is to improve your body composition. You will not be able to accomplish that on an extremely low amount of plant-based protein. All right, little interruption before we get into the podcast. Did you know that over 60% of you that listen to this show regularly aren't subscribed to the channel? So if you could do me a favor and click on the subscribe button, because it really helps the channel grow and really helps me get bigger guests on the show and helps me elevate the quality of the show. So again, I run these episodes ad-free for that reason, because I want to give you the best experience possible without any interruption. So this is my little interruption right here. So if you could do me a favor and subscribe, click on the notification bell so you can be notified when the episode goes live. I appreciate it very much. Enjoy the episode. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Fit Vegan Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about how to break through plateaus in your fat loss journey. We're actually going to go through some actionable steps, and there's 4 ways. So we're going to dive right into it because our Thursday episodes are a little bit more condensed because I want to be able to provide as much value as possible. So these 4 ways that I'm going to share with you, and there's going to be even a little bonus one at the end, are for you if you've been exercising, you've been monitoring your nutrition, but you've lost some weight, but then you're just stuck, right? You're eating healthy, you're exercising, and nothing else is changing, and you've been doing the same thing for an extended period of time, and you're just getting frustrated with putting all this effort and not seeing your body composition change, not seeing that you're a different size of clothes, not seeing the number on the scale drop. So there's a few things that you can do to help to break through that plateau and ultimately accelerate your results. So the number one thing to do is to adjust your calorie intake, right? It kind of seems pretty obvious, but sometimes as we kind of go into a calorie deficit, our body will get adjusted to this new deficit. And then in our head, we think like, well, I'm in a calorie deficit compared to where I should be if I wanted to maintain my weight. So therefore I should lose. But the reality is every decrease that you do, your body will work its hardest to adapt to be able to perform on less calories ultimately. And so if you just say your maintenance calories is 2,000 and you go down to 1,600 over the course of time, and at 1,600 you plateau, well, guess what? You have to remove even more calorie if you want to continue to see some results, because again, your body is constantly looking to adapt to whatever you're throwing its way. And so now that you've increased your exercise output, you've decreased your calories, your body is going to become optimized at doing everything that you do in your day-to-day life, your exercise, your steps, your work, all the things you have going on the amount of food that you've been giving. Is that 1,600 calories eventually be so optimized it's going to be able to do all of these things well on 1,600 calories, and your metabolism is going to slow down so that it doesn't spend as much energy doing all of those activities compared to what you normally would if you're to eat more food. So the simple way is to just cut more food so that you can continue to lose more weight. Now, that can be done in very small decreases. I'm not saying to remove an additional 500 calories per day where you would be hungry, you would have cravings, it could throw your hormones out of whack, you have a lot less energy. I'm simply referring to removing 50 to maybe 100 calories max if you're stuck and you're at a plateau, right? You only need to create a little bit more of a deficit so your body has ultimately a new challenge, a new thing to get adjusted to. And so don't remove a ton of calories. 50 to 100 is more than enough. So play within that range, 50, 75 to 100, and you're going to be able to induce some more fat loss if you've been stuck. Now, the only scenario where that doesn't apply is if you're really low in your calories. So let's just say you're a 60-year-old woman and you're eating, I don't know, let's say something ridiculous like 1,100 calories a day, which is extremely low. If you're eating 1,100 calories per day and you've been doing that for a long time and you're physically active and you're living your day-to-day life and you're just not sitting on the couch all day and you're active and you're at 1,100 and you're stuck, you going lower is not going to serve you. You're entering a dangerous territory where there's not enough vitamins and nutrients coming in for your body. There's not enough energy to be able to supply everything you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Your hormones are going to be out of whack because, again, there's not enough food and energy coming in. And so at that point, it would be more beneficial to move towards a reverse dieting, which will be one of the steps that I'll share later. So Number one thing that you can do to break through a fat loss plateau is just to simply tweak your calories, bring them a little bit lower by 50, 75, or 100 calorie to induce more fat loss. The second thing that you can do, and it kind of ties in with your nutrition, is that you can ensure that you're getting the proper ratios of macronutrients in your meals, right? In your day to day. And so let's just say you have 2,000 calories per day and you're severely eating on your protein, but you are actively strength training, you're being physically active, and your goal is to improve your body composition. You will not be able to accomplish that on an extremely low amount of plant-based protein. And as for the most of you that are not putting any emphasis or awareness towards it, you're simply eating whole food plant-based as much as you want and hoping that everything kind of works out. And it will if you're trying to be healthy, but if you're trying to improve your body composition and be healthy, it's a different ball game. There needs to be put more awareness put towards ensuring that you consume enough plant-based protein in your day-to-day. And all we want to aim for is about 1.6 gram per kg of body weight. So if you've done all your weight in kg, just grab your weight in pounds divided by 2.2. That will be your weight in kg. And then that number times 1.6 will be approximately how much plant-based protein you should be consuming per day if your goal is to improve your body composition, aka build lean muscle mass or retain as much lean muscle mass as possible when you're going on a calorie deficit. So simply by shifting the proportion of the specific macronutrient of protein, it will help you break through a fat loss plateau. Because if you've been under eating on your protein and overeating on your calories, or severely under eating on your calories and on your protein, then that is why you are going to be stuck. So as the second way, simply shifting the ratio of plant-based protein you're consuming per day would make a difference in helping you break through a plateau. Now, the third way, we're going to move into the exercise now, is you can adjust how much exercise you're doing, right? Quantity and duration. So instead of doing 3 strength training sessions a week, you can do a fourth one. Instead of doing 2 sessions of 30 minutes of cardio per week, you can do 3 of 30 minutes per week. You can do 2 of 45 minutes per week instead of 30 minutes, right? But you notice that I'm only making small increments, because if you're trying to break through a plateau, as much as we feel that we need to do something drastic because we want results now, we want to break through that plateau, we only need very small adjustments in order for our body to have to respond to something new, to get some results, to get the ball rolling again. So like I said, if you're doing 2 sessions of 30 minutes of cardio, simply going to 2 of 45 would make a difference in helping you bust through that plateau. Doing 3 of 30 as an example is another way to bust through that plateau. If you notice, it's the same thing, right? 2 of 45 is an hour and a half every week, or 3 of 30 is an hour and a half every week. So I've simply increased it by 30 minutes. There's no need to add an extra 1 hour of cardio per week. If you've plateaued, you can get away with doing a lot less and being able to see some progression in your body composition, in your fat loss, and in your journey. And in terms of quantity, the strength training, if you're doing 3 a week, it's great. It's a great place to be. 4 is a little bit even better. Again, depending on your goals and the situation that you're in. Personally, I like to do 4 a week because it makes me feel good. And there's enough like strength training to kind of spread out throughout the week where I feel strong and tight all week. That's just a personal preference. I personally don't like to go to 5 of strength training. I don't like to go to 6 of strength training. I think it's too much. If you're training for a very high level sport, potentially be benefits to it. But if you're simply looking to be healthy and improve your body composition, 3 to 4 is more than enough. And so the third way to break through a fat loss plateau is to adjust your exercise on a quantity and duration basis by making small increments. It can be something as simple as, if you're doing 3 sets of 15 reps, then the next time you go through, because you're supposed to change your workout about every 4 weeks to make sure your body doesn't adapt to what you're doing. You can go to 4 sets of 15 reps, right? So we're increasing the volume of what we're doing, not necessarily changing the exercise, but we're doing just a little bit more. 1 more set per exercise would make a difference in helping you bust through a plateau. Doing maybe 10 repetitions instead of 15 would force you to grab heavier weights to ensure that it's challenging enough for you to be able to do your 10 reps ultimately. So that would be a new stressor on the body. So making all those adjustments would make the world of a difference, right? So quantity and duration is one of them. The fourth one is that you can adjust the intensity of the exercise. So like I mentioned in point 3, like, yes, you can go from 15 reps to 12 reps to 10 reps to 8 reps to 6 reps. And by going with less repetition, it's going to force you to grab a heavier weight so that you can put enough stress on the muscle to complete those 6 reps. Because if you grab the same amount of weight that you would do 15 reps with and you do 6, well, it's not enough of a stressor on the muscle, of a challenge to the muscle to demand of it to grow. So you'd have to grow a little bit heavier on the exercise. Another way to increase intensity would be, yes, adding more sets, adding more reps, removing reps, increasing the weight. Also, shortening the breaks would be one of them, right? Or putting things in a superset or a triple set or a circuit training. If you want to think of circuit training, think of Orange Theory, right? Not a fan when it comes to improving body composition, but it is fun from time to time to do those training. But that is just an example of how to increase intensity in exercise, right? You can shorten the breaks and combine some exercises together to make some supersets or some circuit training, which will therefore help you elevate the intensity of the exercise. Now, those are the four main ones that I have for you. But I'm going to add two bonuses because I just thought of another one that I didn't put, that I didn't think of when I was going to record this video. One common mistake that people make when it comes to hitting a plateau and why they get stuck is because they've been doing the same workout over and over again, right? You've been doing the same exercises every week for months on end. Some of you have been doing the same workout for 6 months, for 9 months. Some of you have been doing the same workout for a year. Like I've shared with the calories and the nutrition, your body is an adaptation machine. Whatever stressor you ask of it, it will work its hardest to adjust to it as fast as possible. So if you go from 2,000 calorie to 1,800 calorie, it will work as hard as possible to optimize its metabolism to be able to perform on 1,800 calories, all the tasks that you demand of it on a day-to-day basis. If you introduce a new workout, which would be a new stressor to the body, it'll work its hardest to be as fit, as strong as possible to be able to do the thing that you demand of it. And so that's going to happen after about 4 to 5 weeks. After about 4 to 5 weeks, the workout that you've been doing is easier for your body. We're looking at efficiency. So think of marathon training, think of triathlon training. We'll just use running as an example because I think the majority of you would understand the analogy a little bit better. But if you want to be a better runner, what do? You run more, right? And the more often you run, the more your body gets used to that type of exercise. So if you grab your first 10K, if you've never ran for your life, and I asked you to run a 10 kilometers, you would burn a significant amount of calories. If I asked you to run a 10 kilometer after I've been training you for a year to be a really good runner, you would burn significantly less calories on that second run after a year of training versus the first time. Because the first time, you're very inefficient. You're basically like a Hummer. You're just burning through fuel. But after a year of training, we've turned you into a little Prius. You're very fuel efficient. And so your body's not going to need as many calories and not burn as much energy doing that run on the second time. And so that's why it's important to change your workouts if your goal is to improve your body composition. If your goal is to improve sports performance, do more of the sport. If you want to get better at running, run. Better at swimming, swim more. If you want to get better at cycling, cycle more. You basically want for sports performance to become like a Prius, very fuel efficient, right? If you want to improve your body composition, we want inefficiency. We want your body to just burn through fuel. We want your body to have to adapt constantly and just run hot. So that way you can burn a ton of calories and induce some fat loss and then build the muscle with the strength training. So that's why it's important to change your workout after about 4 to 5 weeks. For our members, when they come to our program, we change it every 4 weeks just so we can kind of cut the curve of plateauing so that we don't plateau ultimately. That's why we change it every 4 weeks to continue seeing some progression. So what that looks like in terms of energy, if you want to put it that way, is the first week our members are like, damn, they're swearing at their coach. They're like, this is really hard. The second week, they're like, this is really hard. The third week, they're like, oh, I'm kind of getting the hang of this. And then the fourth week, they're like, oh, I could definitely do this workout now. And then bam, we change it on them. And we go back to, damn, screw you. This is a really hard workout. So we just go through this cycle over and over again, because if we don't give the body a reason to adjust to something that requires it to be fitter and stronger and have more lean muscle and have less body fat and be more athletic and have more stamina, then why would it change? Your body is a representation of your environment. So if all you do all day is sit in a chair, sit on a couch, and you don't move your body a lot, your body will become optimized for that environment. But if you force it to go to the gym for your strength training session, for your cardiovascular session, you force it to go for walks, your body will become optimized to be able to live in that environment, because it is a survival instinct to adapt to your environment. And so you want to make sure that you are training in a way that is reflective of how you want to look. So that would be one of the little bonuses. And then the last bonus, this one is more of a logical thing, okay? I've coached over 900 people at this point. You see patterns amongst people. You can be given the best workout in the world that changes every 4 weeks, that have all the progressive overload built into it, that will challenge your body in the best ways possible. But if you don't do the plan, you will not get the result. So compliance is a big component of helping break through plateaus. And so if you've been doing a workout, if you've been kind of sticking to your workout, kind of sticking to your calories, and you're feeling stuck, increasing the intensity, changing the workout, changing your calories is a stupid move, right? Potentially I can use another word for that, but that's the word I'm going to go for, because your body hasn't really gotten adjusted and optimized for the plan that you're demanding of it. And so you changing something and not being compliant with that new thing changes nothing. You just have less food and you have to do more exercise for no reason, and you're going to see the same results. And so ensuring that you have compliance to the plan that you currently have in place before making any of those adjustments will be extremely valuable in helping to optimize your transformation, make it as enjoyable as possible, ensuring that you're not starving, ensuring that you don't have a crazy amount of cravings, that you're not low energy for no reason. And so ensuring that you do the plan, and then if you plateau, then make adjustments. If you're kind of doing the workout, if you're kind of doing the nutrition and you're not seeing results, you're just going to cut food for nothing and add more exercise for nothing. You're going to make it more miserable for you for no reason, when you could have just ate all the food you were supposed to, did all the workouts you were supposed to, and continue to get great results until you eventually plateaued. And then it would have been powerful to kind of use these tools, right? So you think of in creating, adding intensity, playing with quantity and duration, playing with calorie, playing with proportions of the food as tools. If you have a limited amount of tools in your belt, you want to make them last as long as possible to ensure that you reach to your goal. You don't want to put all your tools in one go, and then when you get stuck, you have nothing left to use. You want to use one, get as far as you can as possible with it, and then when needed, then you pull the other one. So you want those tools to last you as long as possible until you fully reach your goal, right? So that is one of the ways. There's what, 5, 6 ways at this point that I've shared with you to help you break through your fat loss plateau, your body recomposition plateau. And I'm just going to throw a little tangent in there. I brought it up when I talked about calories. If you've been, in my opinion, severely under eating for a long time, meaning you're severely in a calorie deficit and it's been potentially months or years that you've been in that state, or you've been yo-yo dieting for a long time, there is a chance that your body has optimized itself to perform on a lot less calories to live your day-to-day life, meaning you have a very slow metabolism, meaning you're like a Prius, very fuel efficient, right? If you want to compare it to metabolism. What would be beneficial for you in that scenario would be to consider doing something called reverse dieting for at least 4 months to help increase the amount of food intake that your body can handle without putting on a ton of fat doing that. And by doing that, you're basically turning your body into a Hummer, right? Basically, you're going to burn through fuel a lot more. So your body will be able to handle more food to keep your body. And then once your body's used to all of that food, then we can go into a body recomposition phase where we slowly and methodically play with your calorie deficit to ensure that you get a great body recomposition. If that's something that you want help with, that is something that we do with every single one of our members. So again, you don't have to, but if you want to, down below, there's a link to book your free body recomposition consultation call. You can talk to one of our Fit Vegan coaches and they can kind of build that game plan for you so you can see what it looks like for you to have your full transformation done ultimately. But if you're someone that's severely under eating, highly recommend you start with reverse dieting, speed your metabolism back up, and then go back down into your calorie deficit and use some of the tools that I've given you here, right? Methodically, whenever you need them, so that you don't use all of them in one go and then you're just left feeling stuck. So I hope this podcast was helpful. Those are real, tangible things that we do with our members when they plateau or when people come to us because they're stuck in their transformation. Those are the things that we address. Those are the path that we take. Those are the things that we've done over 900 plus time. I've looked at the numbers. By the time of the recording of this podcast, we're at 980 people that we've helped transform with Fit Vegan coaching. There are patterns. There are common things that people do in situations that they're in, and there's ways to get those people out. And we have the most streamlined ways of doing that, not because we're geniuses, but because we've done this 980 plus time. And so there's obviously patterns that we see, right? Obviously, there's a lot of studies backing up the things that I'm sharing with you, but those are actual tools that work. And so one thing I'm going to leave you with on this podcast is like, yes, you've heard a lot of great information here, and you might tell yourself, I know this. But if you're stuck in your transformation, it doesn't matter if you know this. You need to implement this, right? So there's two things. There's head knowledge and there's body knowledge. There's a lot of people online that have a lot of head knowledge. They listen to a ton of podcasts, read all the books, the courses, attend all the conferences, but they never implement any of it into their life. And that's why they're feeling stuck, right? You want body knowledge. You want to know what it's like to go through that process, that when this happens, Here's what I need to do, and actually take action on it. Because head knowledge is just cool things you can tell your friends to sound smart. Body knowledge is the thing that's actually going to transform your life and allow you to have the body, the health, and the life that you want. So I invite you to grab one thing from the list that I've given you if you're stuck in your transformation and implement it. Give it enough time, at least 2-3 weeks, for you to notice a difference on those changes. And I promise you, you're going to make some progression and you're going to bust through that plateau. All right. So if you want our help to help you in your transformation, down below, there's a link for you to book your free body recomposition consultation call. If not, enjoy the podcast and I will see you on the next one. Bye.